Christ, and the norm for those type of experiences today was to become, a celibate member of a religious community or monk or whatever. Claire had a similar experience, and that seemed to work for her. But all of these people who were already married said, well, we want to follow the poor Christ to the style that you did, and they were already married. And Francis said, well, we need to look at this. And so the vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience we take in a different way. Secular Franciscans vow to follow the poor Christ, that type of poverty, to be obedient to the will of God, and to be chaste in a married relationship, which means they're going to be faithful. So as we as religious are to be faithful, married people are to be faithful to that relationship. So chastity, not celibacy. Chastity is, in the doctrine of the church, a value also for married people because they're being faithful to God in that relationship. So secular Franciscans study life of St. Francis. They do a novitiate like religious people do. They take vows that would be similar to us, but they're either single or married with those three same focuses. They develop a contemplative prayer life, and they are committed to a fraternal life, and have a preferential option for the poor, but they do it as lay people or married people. As a member of fraternity, that's why that term comes up again, because they do it as a part of the community. Does that answer your question? Good, okay.
I've run in 8 states, so I did not do all 50 because I started getting my master's. And it's hard to work here full time and go to school. I have class at night and study on weekends, but I would love to. But I don't think Miss Graham or Mr. Strawby or Sister Mary Virginia would give me 3 days a week off to do all those things. But yes, I would love to. But so I haven't completed all my goals because I only ran in 8 states. I didn't mind. So I guess you could say I didn't complete all my goals. I did it to a certain extent because I didn't buy a house. But then I figured we own the school, so I have a little bit of property.
Do I have any regrets? I have absolutely no regrets. I like your tombstone, what you like on your tombstone. My life as a married woman has been incredibly rich in experience. I've learned so much and I've grown so much through my relationship with my husband. And as I said, being a mother has been the greatest gift, one of the greatest gifts God has ever given me. I also have, through my life, continued to serve the church in other ways. I've worked at churches, I've taught in Catholic schools before. My favorite teaching job was an all-girls Catholic school in England. But being in the married life has provided me many opportunities to serve.
How do you follow Tammy decide that you wanted to be part of?
Where's the microphone?
Who's microphone?
Where's the microphone? Somebody has it. Oh, there it is.
How did you decide that you wanted to be a father?
Oh,
How did you decide?
Oh, how did I decide?
Dark, stormy night.
How did I decide that I wanted to be a priest or be a Franciscan? Because they're kind of different.
Franciscan.
How did I decide I want to be a Franciscan?
And then I want to hear priest.
Okay, sure. And they're somewhat related. I think I was given a real special particularly from my dad. I was given a real special love for the poor. He was a secular Franciscan, my father was. So I have regrets. I was engaged to be married 2 times and broke off relationships and hurt the women, so I do have regrets. But I'm glad I did that because I felt that this decision to live as a Franciscan and this vocation that you're talking about, I think, is about being most free to love. And when we talk about love, we're talking about the way Jesus talks about love, not soap opera. And I felt I was going to be most free to love in the world as a Franciscan. I've had a chance to be a missionary in Guatemala and in Peru, and lots of different things. And had I had a commitment to a wife and the children, I don't think I would have felt that freedom to go do that. It was the way I was being called to love. So when that became clear that it was the best way for me to be able to love the world as Jesus loves, that became clear. Then for the priesthood piece, I looked at my gifts. I'm a raving extrovert. I love the crowds. I had a big conversion experience in my university years. I have a great love for Scripture. Preaching seemed to make sense. And being with people in the sacraments seemed to be another way that I could kind of live that love. So does that answer your question?
And I just wanted to piggyback on what Father Tommy said about no regrets. Yes, I have some regrets in my life. You know, you're not going to go through life and not regret anything. We've all hurt people and done things we wish we hadn't. But when I said no regrets, I don't want to have look back and think, you know, when you have a deep feeling, something moves inside and you have a gut. Have any of you ever had gut feelings when you don't know, you know something's wrong, but you can't prove it, but you just get a feeling when you're around certain people or certain things? Yes. So that's the kind of no regrets I'm talking about, where I did not go with something that was deep in my stomach. So does that make sense? So don't think Sister Lily has been perfect. Far from it. So that's what I just wanted to.
I can echo that too, because if you talk to my husband, I have not been a perfect wife. So there's regrets in hurting people, but yeah. Yes.
We want to know how it was working with teams like ours.
Oh boy. Did everybody hear that question? What was it like working with teens your age who were pregnant?
Okay. All I can say is don't get pregnant. I'm not trying to be funny, but getting pregnant at any time, even when you're 25, 24, when you have a husband and someone, it's a huge change. It's not just a huge change psychologically, but it's a huge change in your body. And some of these girls did not plan it. And it was just, it's what happened. And then you have to deal with the consequences. And let me tell you all something. I never met the guys. And I was wondering where they were. Where was the love when they got pregnant? None of them were to be seen. But when the PA checks came around, they were all around the corner looking for their public assistance checks. So, tell me your question again.
Oh, I was wondering how it was working.
Yeah. It was very difficult because a lot of them were trying to raise a baby and also complete high school. And you know how difficult it is here to go to work one day a week and complete all your classes, right? It's really easy, right? Now imagine you're going to school and you're not working, but instead you have a baby. And this baby was actually at the shelter where I was. And the girls were going with their homework. A lot of the times they dropped out of school because the baby got sick. There was no one to take care of the baby. And it was just extremely difficult. My heart just prayed for them. And they loved their babies, and they had to, this happened, and they had to move on. But none of them had ever come and said to me, oh, I'm so glad I did this. They said, if we only know how difficult this would be. So I can only tell you from their experience. And then having a little tiny baby, and you have to take care of it when you're 14, 15, even when you're 20, it's difficult. I think when you're 14 and 15, and I mean, I remember seeing these girls getting on buses to take the baby who has pneumonia to the hospital of Kings County in New York City. And, you know, depending on the cab driver, if he felt like pulling over for them or not, or, you know, if he got a fare to the airport, he would come later, and it was just very sad. Did I answer your questions?
Yeah. I saw more questions. No.
After making solemn vows as a Franciscan and changing his life, did I ever want to go back? No. I love my life. I love my ministry, and I've always believed that you've got to close doors for other doors to open. So when I got the grace that this was the way I was being called to love in the world, that door closed, and at this point I have no regrets. That could change later on, but right now, I've never thought about going back.
No, I have no regrets either, and not many people know this, but the man I've only ever loved in my life, Bill Hammett, a friend of mine found him on the internet for me, so we got in contact. And about 6 months ago, he's a special ed teacher living in Oakland, so I go to school at Holy Names, and I saw him after 15 years. And when he walked in the room, and I remember when he broke up with me, I was devastated. All I could think of was, if I die now, my pain will go away. So when he walked in the room, I was like, God, did I make the right decision? He was great. He's not, he's not, no, he's great. He is gorgeous. He is still very good looking, but all that stuff that was going on inside of me, and it was just fun to see him. He walked in, he laughed, "You are in heaven." And I'm like, "You are," and he was great. I mean, he's still good looking, very sharp, in great shape, and we have just moved on. And it was just funny to go back and see somebody after all these years. And it was just, great. But no, I have not regretted it. And I have to tell you a little secret, but please don't say this to anybody. We have a pretty good life, and Mr. Brune will tell you that. And I bet you we go home at night. We don't want for anything. We have people who cook for us. We have this freedom to be in ministry, to do all we do. You see our cars outside. We are very well taken care of, and I've always believed that when you do something for the right thing, you'll be blessed abundantly, and I'm sure you would agree with the same thing. I mean, I've been to people's homes, their window gets broken in the car. Well, they don't get it repaired immediately, or if there's a problem with the car, well, ours are usually repaired within 3 days. So don't tell anybody that, but we live very well.
It's a first sister Logan and father. Do you have any regret? Are your family and friends accepting of your first couple?
Yes, the whiny girls were not very happy at first, because they thought they would never see me, and that I would change and I would become this holy roller, and I would start preaching to them, because a lot of them are, I can't even tell you what religion 3 of them are. But and my mom and dad were worried in the beginning. Well, my mom said, "You remember what you said about nuns when you were in high school?" That was the first thing she said. And no, I get to see my parents every year. When I entered, I said that was very important. I'm one of 8 kids, and my mom is turning 80 this year. So I don't see him as much as I'd like to. But when I was living here before I entered, I still saw him once a year. But I still see my friends on a regular basis.
My problem was the opposite. My mom is very traditional Catholic. We're 9 kids with 5 boys. So she really wanted one son to be a priest. Now, my vocation was really crooked, so when I was leaving and coming back and trying to figure out what to do, and then I wasn't going to be a priest, that was a bigger problem. So I had to finally confront my parents and say, this was a hard time in my life, and all you were worried about was whether your son was going to be a priest, and I was hurting it. We were able to work it out finally, but it was just actually the opposite. Now, I have 8 brothers and sisters, and I think we all get along really well. Some are very active Catholics, some not, or whatever. I think if I was a Baptist minister who was cramming stuff down their throats, we probably wouldn't get along well, but they know as a Franciscan, and our Catholic tradition is not to cram things down. So I respect their lives, and I think they respect the decisions I made. And like in any big family, I'm close to some and not to others. And the one sister I'm most closest to has a master's in theology and is a Jesuit spiritual director, that kind of thing.
All of you, if you could help bring the chairs back to the luncheon, there needs to be 6 on each side, so pick up your chair and move to the stage.